The most wishlisted game on Steam, Manor Lords is now available on Early Access. While writing reviews for Early Access games can be tricky, we can all agree that this title is a special case. Hello everyone, I am Z. A big shout out to all our amazing subscribers. I am genuinely grateful for your support. If you have not subscribed yet, consider doing so, as we always have open discussions here. Our comment section is always open, so feel free to start conversations about Manor Lords. And of course, it helps the channel with engagement metrics. Since this game has just been released and is in early access, I will provide you with a brief overview of what you can expect. Hopefully, this will serve as a guide for you. Manor Lords is a massive win for Game Pass. Prioritizing organic growth and historical reality, it starts as a small town or village simulator. You begin with just a bit of resources from general templates that you choose with various options for enemy aggressiveness and bandits. Your goal is to build up a thriving village, and once you build it, this looks like another game we are all getting hyped for. Yes, Kingdom Come Deliverance. It looks like an isometric view of KCD once you start growing. In this title, things are done a little bit differently and definitely in the name of realistic simulation. For example, you need a logging camp to cut logs, but you also need people to man it and firewood to fuel the people's living. Manor Lords handles jobs and people uniquely. When you assign people to work, it's actually assigning families. This is where the historical authenticity part comes on, as historically, every member contributed to the household's livelihood. For example, it was very common to have famous families, where a family would be famous for metalworks, a family would be famous for pot making, things like that. Even the smallest fields need a minimum number of people working on it, and using families to represent that works. However, unassigned families are also crucial, as they build new buildings and transport timber to construction sites, among other tasks, because you guessed it, assigned families are working on their respective fields. So in a strange way, unassigned families can oddly feel like the most actively involved group in the entire game. Having to unassign them, assign them to different jobs, or instruct them to build something can be a bit frustrating at first. However, it works out well in the end. As cities grow larger, you might find yourself a little bit confused about where a farmer or a family is located. Manor Lords lets you dive into buildings and assign families, but also oxen if you need them to transport goods in some cases. One of the best part of the game is upgrading the locations and buildings and adding crops to the homes, along with other improvements that you would not normally see in other city builders. There's an extension there that's a bit different than just adding more people to a building. As your settlement grows, upgrading buildings and adding improvements become essential. Manor Lords offer an organic building style, ensuring that no matter what you do, your village looks impressive, resembling a medieval painting. Planning isn't just important, it's vital, and flexibility is key. Planning requires careful attention to a vast array of elements that can change dynamically. In Manor Lords, the one element that remains steadfast throughout the entire game is people. You can't build a manor or be a lord if everyone is dead. This is the element that this title shares with every other city builder. People are important. Seasons add another layer of challenge and also the look of the game. One can see that a lot of work went into this aspect of the game, and of course it affects the resource availability and the needs of your people. Winter, for example, increases the demand for firewood. Some supplies like berries regenerate over time, while forests can be replanted. Other resources can be mined, but depleted fields can be switched to different crops to aid in soil regeneration. However, this also means that when initially building them, you need to verify if it's a suitable spot for planting each time. When your city meets the requirements for the next level, you earn development points. Manor Lords simulation elements may not be immediately recognizable, as much of it is not delivered in the same way as in other titles. However, when you look at the People tab on a house, you may discover that your house is a considerable distance from someone's job site. And now you have to move it because travel matters. Building roads to ensure connectivity and improvement matters greatly. Let's talk a bit about combat. You have to supply all your troops and they don't magically acquire anything. It's not a never-ending field of disposable people. Rather, it's your villagers. Of course, the male ones because of authenticity, as it was more common in medieval times. So if you dispatch a group of poorly outfitted field hands to be decimated when you return home, don't be surprised when you discover that there's no one left to plant your crops. Your militia only requires the items you have chosen for them as a unit, but they must acquire or scavenge those items themselves. You can hire local militias for a significant sum of gold to fight in your townfolk's stead. This is where strategic decision making comes into play. Do you prioritize making a large sum of money and rely solely on militia for defense, or do you opt for a different approach? The choice is totally yours. When you decide to go to battle in Manor Lords, like many aspects of the game, it's not just a one-step process. In fact, it involves multiple steps. You need to ensure you have the raw materials for the items you want to produce, which may differ from many army unit types. Gather the items from their respective locations and then proceed to engage in warfare. Combat in Manor Lords so far lacks some elements due to its early access status, but it plays relatively smoothly. It appears to be less fleshed out system compared to the simulation of village building. However, it's not overly difficult to predict its direction. Additionally, the creator has released outlining their plans for many other systems in Manor Lords, providing insights into future developments. Let's delve into the HUD in Manor Lords and how it provides the necessary information for the simulation. As you survey your locations, you will notice a bar at the top right corner that contains a wealth of data about your resources. With a simple click, you can access information about the resources you possess and those that are incoming. This allows you to quickly assess if there is a significant disparity between the two, helping you to determine if any concerns need addressing. Overall, longevity in Manor Lords is not just about the endgame grind, it's about enjoying the initial phases and being engaged in the gameplay. The game's depth is intriguing, with its blend of simulation, strategy, and realism setting it apart. In terms of performance, Manor Lords runs smoothly, with customizable settings catering to various hardware configurations. Its attention to detail, immersive audio, and captivating visuals contribute to its overall charm. In conclusion, Manor Lords offers a compelling experience even in its early access stage. Its blend of simulation, strategy, and realism makes it a worthwhile addition to your library. Of course, it needs more time, but unlike many other early access titles, Manor Lords has its ideas precise and clear. It knows what it wants to be, and the base is already there. Well, that's the end of this review. Hope you find it helpful. I thank you for tuning in to the channel. I will see you soon.